You know what we're not hearing a lot about right now? We're not hearing a lot about homelessness. We're not hearing a lot about homelessness. You know why? Because it's only going to get worse.
It's a lot of people living on the streets right now. I'm talking about community of homeless people.
Homelessness just hit a record high in the U.S. That's an 18% spike from last year alone. What's causing it? Sky-high rent, stagnant wages.
If rent or housing costs are not affordable to people living in an area, then the homelessness rates go up significantly.
And even though I work between 50 and 60 hours every single week, I am homeless living here in my car because of inflation.
And just as I exited the park the other day, I saw probably four or five people that you could tell were spending the majority of their time, if not all their time, in their car.
A landlord can kick you out and sell your home, and you can end up homeless. You need 3 times the monthly income of the rent to qualify. In a single income household, it's almost impossible.
I was in a parking lot last night, but because my landlord, where I had been living for over 8.5 years, gave me very little notice to get out. So I lost basically my home and my income simultaneously. And when that happens, what do you recover first?
If you, in fact, are behind on your rent or facing eviction, I need you to comment for me. I need to see if this algorithm gonna do what it do, because I know it's gotta be a lot of people going through this right now, y'all.
I remember sleeping in the storage unit with my kids and having to buy 2 cases of water so I could wash my and wash them up as well.
There's been an increase of 40% in family level homelessness. This is parents on the streets with kids and things of that nature, which obviously is heartbreaking.
You know what we're not hearing a lot about right now? They had the State of the Union address. There's all these different things going on in the news. We're not hearing a lot about homelessness. We're not hearing a lot about homelessness. You know why? Because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, especially with all these things happening with the economy. It's only going to get worse. If roughly 1 in 320 people in the United States are going to experience some form of homelessness in 2025, think about the prices. Think about what's happening right now with all these layoffs, between the federal layoffs and and corporate America. Because even though some people make more money, a lot of us are just a few paychecks away from being homeless. So even though there's a lot of distractions going on, don't take your eye off the prize. Housing is one of the major issues that's affecting Americans in 2025, and a lot of people don't want to be talking about it. They don't want to talk about it because they really, truly don't have the solutions.
Whoa, now what's happening with y'all like that? Check this out. Here we go again. Say, man, I'm finna keep it a buck. It's a lot of people living on the streets right now. I'm talking about community of homeless people. They everywhere. At the intersections, up under bridges, in front of convenience stores, behind convenience stores. They just everywhere. Back in the day, you used to see a couple of homeless people, but now it's communities of them. You got kids living in tents with their parents because they done lost everything and there's no assistance for them. They building up a bunch of fucking apartments and home developments. And you know, for every one of them that they build up, it's another tent going on the street because nobody can afford to live in that shit. Because rent high as hell in them shits. They charging 20-something hundred, damn near $3,000 a month to live in these apartments now. People can't afford it. And they talking about the American dream. This shit looking like the America's nightmare. Then you got all these mega churches on every block. Won't even open up the doors for shelter for some of these people. This is crazy. But everybody, all the assistance is going out the window. Man, they don't care about the people, man. This shit crazy. This shit crazy. And I do my best. If I see somebody, I give them something, whatever I can afford to give them. But I try. You know what I'm saying? But this shit is crazy. Everybody else can get assistance, and they drawing up all of the motherfucking shit, but people living on the streets, man. A kid shouldn't be living in a tent behind a store with his parents. This supposed to be the United States. You're supposed to try to help people out, not other people. Everywhere we go, man, you see this, man. This shit is sad. Man, y'all stay up out there, man, and get it out the mud.
What's a scam that's become so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore?
Rentals. A landlord can kick you out and sell your home, and you can end up homeless. You need 3 times the monthly income of the rent to qualify. In a single income household, it's almost impossible. They can renew your lease and increase it to whatever they want. Application fees. Can you imagine how many application fees just one house is raking in right now for rentals? If your landlord sells the home and you have to find a new rental, some people's credit was greatly affected during the pandemic, and they can't get approved. If you don't qualify, you need a cosigner who makes 6 times the monthly rent in income. When there's multiple applicants, do you think they're going to take a single mom, or do you think they're going to take a dual income household or roommates with no kids? I can't imagine how many families are going to end up homeless.
Yeah, I was able to get the storage unit.
Yo, you good in there? Yeah, I'm just moving things around. What you mean moving things around? Yo, can't be sleeping in here, bro. It's a storage facility.
Bro, you're disturbing my workplace.
Nah, bro, you can't sleep here, bro.
I mean, look at all our stuff. It's everything we own. Everything we own. I feel miserable. I have pneumonia. I just got released from the hospital last night. I've been in there for 4 days. I was sicker than a dog before I went. I called the ambulance. They wouldn't take me in. I made my in-law take me 2 days later because I felt like I was dying, literally dying, and I had pneumonia caused from all of the freaking trying to clean this stuff up to get out of here fast enough. That made me sick. It made me sick fast. I just sent my girls to go stay somewhere else so I can freaking try to deal with this and not be upset in front of them. They said they're trying to work with me for housing. I haven't even seen anybody about nothing for housing today. Nobody showed up. Nobody. And now there's a trash service going behind all of this. They just took all the RVs and the cars. They took one of our cars. I couldn't find the key this morning when I went to move it. They took that too. It's like we don't have enough taken from us out here. If we had anything, we wouldn't be here. If we had options, we wouldn't be here. Nobody wants to be out here like this. Because of all the rats out here on the levee, my RV got infested with them. They chewed through all my water lines. They chewed through some of my electrical stuff. They chewed through my heater. So I had to move my kids into this little one temporarily so we could try to fix all the damages. And they didn't tag that one, but then they tagged my other one. I need to go lay down. I'm so sick. So sick. I've been out here all night trying to gather what I can so they won't take everything. Now to explain to my girls that everything's gone again.
Whoever think that this is not real, what I'm going through, whoever think that I have apartment or house or anything of that nature. I don't. And people that have been following me for a long time, they know I don't. Every time they see me, I'm in this car. They see me at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, on live in this car. I'm homeless. I'm homeless.
It could be worse. Anytime you're going through some shit, just remember it could be worse. Listen, I remember sleeping in the storage unit with my kids and having to buy 2 cases of water so I could wash my ass and wash them up as well. I remember us sleeping in a 2004 Ford Expedition in the dead ass heat of summer behind an abandoned apartment complex building because I didn't want to pay my rent. I wanted to take my money and do what the fuck I wanted to do with it. And guess what? I got put out. And then I was shit out of luck because I couldn't go back to my parents' house because they didn't have any room for me and my kids. So we were sleeping in the storage unit. We were sleeping in my car. Then I got put out of that storage unit, and I remember me and my kids walking down the street with a shopping cart full of our shit, going to another storage unit so we could use that storage unit, okay? Whatever you're going through, it could be worse. It could be worse. It could absolutely be worse. I remember going hotel to hotel for like every bit of 8 months. You know how much it costs to pay for a hotel every damn month? It's like a hole you'll never get out of because you're constantly having to pay for the room because there is no eviction time frame. You don't pay for that room by 12 p.m., you out. And I have to think about that every day to myself. Whenever I think I'm going through something, or anytime I think, man, why is this happening now? You know, car breakdown, whatever. I got to think to myself, it could be worse. And I know there's a lot of people going through it right now. Might have lost their job. They don't know where the next dollar's coming from. They can't put food in the house. They don't have gas in their car to even get to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are going through shit. You can't afford medicine. You can't afford your, prescription medication. Your kids are home for summer and they're eating up all the food or whatever the case may be. But listen, there's a lot of avenues out here. There's a lot of shit that, can help. I remember, back when I was homeless and all that stuff, we didn't have like Live. I couldn't ask for money on Facebook or TikTok. There was no such thing. And not only that, there wasn't a DoorDash. There wasn't any of these, options to go out there and try to make some money. It was either somebody was going to help you or you wasn't going to get help. Only thing we really had was like the plasma center. And I did try to go a couple of times in that time frame, but I'm anemic and my protein levels were very low because I wasn't eating. So I couldn't even donate. But I look back on all that and I never forget that time in my life because it was a pivotal time. And I think it helps me to remember, bitch, pay your motherfucking bills. Pay them bills. I don't care what you got planned, pay them goddamn bills. And it could always be worse.
So I'm looking kind of rough today. So this is my look of the day. I'm not wearing any makeup, no anything, just my bare face, which is fine actually because my bare face is cute too. But so more or less you're still getting the same look. Here picking up my son from school, waiting on him to come outside. But crazy story today. I flip houses and I have, a rental. So I have a storage unit where I store like staging furniture. Like when I flip a house, I think houses sell faster when they're staged. That's just my opinion. Like I keep like construction supplies, tile, like all this stuff in my storage unit. So a friend of mine bought some furniture online, didn't have a place to store it, wanted to temporarily store it in my storage unit. So today I went and helped them get it out of there and move it to wherever they're going to move it to. And I saw it on TV before, and I've seen it on online before, but I have never experienced people living in storage units. So I roll up to the storage unit. We roll up to the storage unit, and the storage unit that I'm in, they like have free carts for you to move stuff. And so the cart wasn't there. So I'm like walking around the storage unit like somebody done took the cart, like, come on. And I don't know if you know, like, storage units, if you really look up in indoor storage units, they don't go all the way to the top. So I guess the people in the storage unit heard me, because I was like, who took the cart? Like, it says put the cart back. It's like a sign that says place cart here, be courteous, put the cart back. Cart wasn't there. Went all over the storage unit, couldn't find the cart, because we're moving like furniture, and I'm strong, but come on now. And all of a sudden, like, I hear like some whispering, and I'm like, what is that? And then it's like this dude, this black guy, and this white woman come out of the elevator with both the carts and like all their shit on the carts. And the guy was like, oh, we just moving our stuff. And I'm looking at my friend, we looking at each other, and I looked at him and I said, they living in here. And the black guy looking at me, and I can tell they're kind of off, because I can also smell, I don't know if you know, like when a person drinks a lot, like when you are an alcoholic, even when you're not drinking, that shit comes out of your pores. Like it's just like it's your blood now. And so I could kind of smell that I could smell the alcohol, and they kind of look like they did some other stuff, not like methy, but I don't know, they did some other stuff in addition to drinking, because I think that's how some went wrong if you at the point where you and your girl sleeping in a storage unit. But it blew my mind. Because I was like, wait a minute, they're living in here. And which I get it, rent's high, like, don't get me wrong, but if it's two of y'all, let me tell you this, and I get some people, y'all don't have to agree with me, as long as I, like, ain't no way a woman should be homeless. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not about to be in a relationship if I'm homeless. When people say, oh, we better together, obviously not. There is no way I'm gonna have myself a little boyfriend and we homeless. Like, your priorities, get them straight. Now, I get that sometimes when women are homeless, they have like pets, or they stick around like a guy for protection out there, because I know it's dangerous. It's dangerous for women in the best of times. So I know in that type of vulnerable situation, it's a little bit more dangerous. But I am not a ride or die. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not a ride or die. Why do I have to die? And where are we going? I want to know where we're going. I do. What are we gonna eat when we get there? I'm not a ride or die. And I don't applaud women who are like, I'm gonna stick by my man, I'm gonna struggle with my man. No, sir, I'm not. No, sir, I will not struggle. I will not sit and watch you do stupid shit and then be like, I'm gonna stick beside him, I'm gonna stick beside my man. Sir, if we homeless, you go get yourself together, I'm gonna go get myself together. I know there's disproportionately more programs to help women than there are men. I'm fully aware of that. The fact that I know there are a shit ton of programs to help women and you homeless, no. But I was just like, so we loaded up all the stuff, and as we're pulling out of the storage unit, they're sitting, they looking at me, I'm looking at them, they looking at me, we looking at each other, and I'm realizing, like, yeah, I mean, I don't care. I'm not gonna go and snitch on you or anything like that. My storage unit is secure. But I was just sitting there thinking, like, no, there's no way I'm gonna sit here. I'm sorry, sir. Like, don't get me wrong, like, if my husband like, if he loses his job, whatever, I got you, boo, I got you. I am that type of woman, like, I got you. I'm not, gonna just sit there and be like, what are we gonna do? No, we've got to figure this out. But if it becomes a habit of you just sitting and waiting, I am not the one who's like, I believe in him and nobody ever believed in him, and bitch, he ain't got no job and he hasn't had a job. No, I just don't get it. But that's my little rant for today. Did not know it. Saw it with my own two eyes. First time, I was like, they are really living in this storage unit. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna be having a little boyfriend while I'm struggling. Struggle does not turn me on. Me being a ride or die does not turn me on. No sir. No sir. No sir. But that was it. That was my story for today. Crazy, you know. Use your resources. Use your resources. There are so many shelters. There are so many food pantries, food banks, all those different things. Like I said, I did smell like alcohol and stuff on him. And then he was talking kind of crazy, like whispering under his breath about something. But I was like, ugh, you giving, you know, those type of vibes. So I know it's like a deeper issue than that. But no, I had never seen that before. That's crazy. That blew my mind. I think it's Thursday, so happy Thursday. Okay, my kid is coming. Yeah. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. And if you are like on the verge of homelessness or whatever, like there are definitely programs, tons of churches, tons of programs out there to give aid. They have emergency food stamps, all those things. But okay, I gotta go. All right, bye.
772,000. That's not a typo. That's how many folks are currently living on the streets in the so-called richest country in the world. And y'all want us to believe this is just the system working? Nah, the system is broken, and broke again. Let's break it down. Homelessness just hit a record high in the U.S. That's an 18% spike from last year alone. And family homelessness up 39%. Families, not just individuals. Moms, dads, kids sleeping in cars, on benches, under bridges. What's causing it? Sky-high rent, stagnant wages. Then you got post-COVID economic chokeholds. And a government that got no problem spending billions overseas, but freezes up when it's time to house its own people. And don't get it twisted. This ain't just a bad economy issue. This is a policy failure. No cap. There are more empty homes in America than homeless people. Let that sink in. But instead of tackling housing reform or raising the minimum wage, we're watching politicians bicker like it's a Twitter beef while folks are freezing in tents. This ain't the American dream. This is an American eviction notice. And the wildest part, the media will run this headline and keep it pushing. No national emergency, no federal task force, just another day in the land of get yours or die trying. We need rent control, mental health support, jobs that pay a livable wage, and leaders who actually give a damn. Because homelessness isn't a crime, but letting this continue should be. Follow your boy Crypto Black. See you next time.
Homelessness is on the rise in the U.S. Homelessness has increased by 18% since last year due to the raising rents, housing unavailability, and then also some said in major cities, the influx of migrants have also increased because migrants are now more on the streets. I believe this is a time to also think about families. There's been an increase of 40% in family level homelessness. This is parents on the streets with kids and things of that nature, which obviously is heartbreaking. But one thing that I also want us to start thinking about is how we need to reimagine the social safety net. We need to really reimagine how do we make sure that those who are marginalized, those who end up in bad circumstances are not on the streets forever. A place in Austin, Texas is actually doing this right now. It's called the City First Village. They have homeless people pay rent, which I think is smart. Secondly, they also don't have a sobriety thing, so you can use drugs and alcohol, but only in the confines of your apartment. Those are some of the things that I believe we need to continue having more of and more conversations about. It's like, how do we increase the social safety net, and what other things can we do to really make this thing possible?
18% increase in homelessness year over year. The number one reason, we don't have enough affordable housing. And what you're going to get are a bunch of politicians jumping on the microphone saying, this is a housing crisis, and I don't believe a word that they say. This seems to be the only crisis in America that requires absolutely no action, and it makes no sense. If you're an elected official and you call this a housing crisis, you should be legally obligated to show the receipts on what you've done to actually solve for it, like you do every other crisis. What have you done to create incentives so that people want to build affordable housing? We know the housing market isn't going to create it, because the housing market, it makes profitable housing, not affordable housing. So if the government doesn't jump in, no one's going to do it, and you know that. What have you done to get rid of archaic and stupid zoning rules that prevent the creation of affordable housing? Why are you catering to people who are worried about the character of a neighborhood when you have actual people in those neighborhoods who are experiencing homelessness. They are the priority, not the character people, not that we can't build over 3 stories tall. Stop listening to that nonsense. What have you done with the budget you are in control of? State, county, and city, because that's it. If they're not creating affordable housing, nobody is. So they don't get to call it a crisis until they actually respond like it's a crisis.
But what causes homelessness and why is it rising in so many of our cities? I don't think very many people have the right answers to this, and it's complex, but I've been trying to dig into it a little bit, especially because, we're trying to arrest homeless people. Homelessness is on the rise almost everywhere in the world, especially in the rich world. You can see this chart from The Economist earlier this year that shows per capita homelessness. The US is at the top, but Germany, Australia, Canada, Britain, France, Japan, a lot of countries are struggling with people who are living outside. In my series, actually, What's Happening, where we're trying to get away from breaking news and focus on big global topics, today we're going to talk about why you can't afford housing anymore, and that is a big part of the homelessness discussion. The US particularly struggles with homelessness compared to other countries, and in the US it's a widespread problem, but it's also concentrated in certain states. You can see these darker colors indicate where there are higher numbers of homeless people per capita. I used to be super involved in advocacy for the unhoused population in Washington state. I used to use this report a lot. This came out in 2017 by the Washington State Department of Commerce, and they put it out because they noticed that homelessness levels were about steady or they were decreasing for about 8 years. But then in 2013, something changed, and the numbers started going up, and no policies seemed to make a meaningful difference. And they were kind of asking this question of well, why is it that these numbers are going up now when they weren't before? And so Washington State looked at a bunch of different factors that often are correlated with homelessness. So they looked at drug use and alcohol use. All of those were stable or down over the same time period. They looked at divorce rates. Those were improved over the same time period. Education rates were up during that time period, which would indicate that you would have a higher housed population. All these things didn't seem to add up. And the only thing that was correlated was the cost of rent. And you can see in 2013, it's the same thing. Cost of rent is going down compared to people's earnings. And then suddenly in 2013, it stops being affordable in Washington State, and it's the same exact graph as the homelessness increase. A couple years ago, a University of Washington professor and a data analyst in Seattle looked at a bunch of numbers across the country, and they came to the same conclusion. And this book is what they wrote, which is so good if you're looking to learn about this. Homelessness is a housing problem, and they basically looked at the same type of data. Here are all the different potential causes of this at all sorts of urban areas across the U.S. And what they found essentially is that if rent or housing costs are not affordable to people living in an area, then the homelessness rates go up significantly. If rents are affordable, homelessness rates stay the same or decline. It's not super complicated. And I used to describe this as our neighbors are the ones that are systematically being forced into homelessness, and I think that's true. They do a good job of laying it out as a game of musical chairs, where we have less and less affordable housing for the same number of people, and so of course some people eventually are going to draw the short straw and they're going to find themselves living outside. And then that over time can lead to rising rates of people trying to cope through things like potentially alcohol and drug abuse and all things like that. And so as we criminalize homelessness nationally at a federal level and also at many state levels now, we have to know that what we're saying is we want to imprison our neighbors and potentially our future selves, right? And other countries have done this in the past. The US has criminalized homelessness in the past, but it's been since the 50s or 60s. But more recently, we have not criminalized it in this way. Other countries have and do, including places like Hungary, and we'll get into that in just a second. But one thing this Duke University academic paper that's in preprint is showing that I thought was really interesting is that it's often this kind of punitive measure, jailing people for being homeless, is triggered by a country's transition into a market-oriented approach that privatizes housing development and a de-emphasis on government control over social housing programs. And I think that's a really important piece.
Hi there, my name is Tyler, and even though I work between 50 and 60 hours every single week, I am homeless living here in my car because of inflation. There wasn't any help to keep me in my apartment, even though I paid my rent on time for 3 years. I got behind just 2 weeks because I lost my job for reasons outside of my control. And I called the city, I called the county, I called the state, I called charitable organizations like Salvation Army and churches, and I was told time and time again that there was no help for me. The most that was given to me was being put on a 7-year wait list for possible affordable housing. I believe that this is wrong. There's so many hardworking people like myself, tens of thousands of hardworking Americans that are out here trying to survive, but we can't afford a place to live anymore, and we're being forced to live in our cars, and I believe that is wrong.
I want to see if this algorithm is going to do its thing, okay? I need you to comment, like, and engage with this post. If you, in fact, are behind on your rent or facing eviction, I need you to comment for me. I need to see if this algorithm going to do what it do, because I know it's got to be a lot of people going through this right now, y'all. It's got to be, like, they just approved, like, all of this money, like millions of dollars to, like, build a new shelter in Jacksonville, Florida. Like, damn. They just approved a new shelter to be built in Jacksonville, Florida. And it's like millions and millions of dollars worth. The shelter is going to be worth, I think, like $2 million, if I'm not mistaken. It might be more, but at least $1 million. You know what I'm saying? That's how many people are homeless right here in Jacksonville. So I just wanted to see if this algorithm going to do what it do. If you are facing eviction, behind on your rent, comment on this post, please. And let me know why. Like, why? Like, was it because you fell off because, you know, whatever reason, right? Did your landlord not let you make payments? My landlord wouldn't let me make no payments. I had to come up with everything I owed at one time, and that's how that screwed me. Because if they'd have let me make payments towards the balance, I'd have been alright. But comment and let me know. I need to know. Algorithm, do your thing.
There's a park down the street where I'll go and park and get some shade, and just as I exited the park the other day, I saw probably 4 or 5 people that you could tell were spend the majority of their time, if not all their time, in their car.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, working, and you have to work to have an income to put fuel in that vehicle.
Right.
So there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Sorry I cut you off. You were saying that you try to limit the amount you drive because you don't have the money.
$4 a gallon is expensive, and I'm getting in town 17 miles a gallon, so it's not going to last forever.
So what's your future like?
I still have hope. I got some good things in the works. I have some appointments coming up with some people that are willing to help, and I got some work on the line. I submit daily for work, and
this isn't the last stop.
No, sir.
Yeah.
No. It's a bump in the road.
Literally
a bump in the road. Inconvenience.
Yeah.
But I'll be all right. I've been through a lot worse, and God bless the VA, and thank him for their help, and it'll be all right.
If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
I can't do that right now.
Okay.
I just can't. I don't know. Maybe more.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you.
Hey everybody. See Katniss? I don't think you saw her last night, but she was in the truck with me. One of the reasons I felt safe. And I just wanted to say that I was in a parking lot last night because, not because I have a drug problem, which someone insinuated, but because my landlord, where I had been living for over 8.5 years, gave me very little notice to get out. And I had been Airbnb-ing out part of the property that I rented with his permission and knowledge, of course. And so I lost basically my home and my income simultaneously. And when that happens, what do you recover first? I've sold a bunch of things that I owned because I worked really hard and I had some nice assets, and this is the last one. I own my jet ski free and clear. I said I would sleep in a parking lot before I sold it. I do what I say, I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. And so I won't be in a parking lot tonight, but all of your kind wishes and yeah, felt great. I just wanted to give you an update. And my video last night was I didn't realize how bad things were. I mean, I know how bad things are because I have poor friends that are living with their parents, or their parents are living with them because the economy is shit. But to go to a parking lot and actually see like 24, I think there was like 24 cars. It's kind of sad. There's a couple of couples. It wasn't just like single people. At least I know that's because I don't have a roommate or a partner. Why I'm slipping. I can't do it with one income at $12, $13 an hour. This bullshit. So, but thanks for everything. I'm gonna try to get some rest. I'm gonna get a hotel room after I sell my jet ski. It's not the best day, but we're gonna make it a good day, right, Katniss? Katniss. I think she's mad about being in the truck for fucking 2 days. Big hugs. Big hugs.
I'm looking into the housing market, and I decided to look up how many vacant homes are there in the United States. In 2022, there are 15.1 million vacant homes nationwide. So then I decided to look up how many homeless people are in America. As of 2022, there are 582,462 homeless people in America. Let's do the math on that real quick. If we were to house every homeless person, we would have 14,517,538 homes still vacant. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Being homeless in America is now a crime. And instead of them trying to help the homeless by giving them housing or building more homeless shelters or something, you want to throw them in jail? Most of the people out here on the streets, it's not their fault that they're homeless. And you want to throw them in jail because of life? Life happens sometimes. So why not sit here and help these people instead of locking them up like criminals? Y'all can send all this money across the world, but you can't help your own people? It doesn't make any sense to me. If I had all the money in the world, I'll help out. But we got people with billions and millions of dollars, and they're doing nothing. And that just says a lot about this world, this country, and everything. It's pitiful.
How do you criminalize being homeless, but yet you don't fix the problems that cause people to be homeless? Make that make sense. I would love for all MAGAs to hop on in here. I want you to tell me how this is going to help. And I also want you to tell me, what about the veterans? Have you looked at the homeless rate for veterans, people that you supposedly support? No, you haven't. You just think it's a bunch of people out there that's just got issues in their head, or they're doing things, taking stuff, and that's why they're homeless. That's because you don't read. Nowhere in his executive order did it say, we're going to do something about low wages. Nowhere did it say, we're going to do something about addiction. Never anywhere did it say, we're going to do something to help veterans. Actually, his new bill is going to hurt veterans. Nowhere did he say in his executive order, we're going to do something about how many single mothers are out here because their exes were POSs that didn't do shit, and we're going to make sure they get the child support they deserve. None of that was in there. Never did he say, we are going to make sure businesses pay living wages. There was nothing in there saying we're going to make sure that if they get hurt on the job, they are still going to have a living wage. None of that. It's just him saying, listen, I'm rich because I have ripped off as many people as I could for years and still had to file bankruptcy like 7 times. But I am going to hold another standard because I got a small loan of $1 million from my daddy, and everybody should have got $1 million loan from their daddy, so nobody should be homeless. That's because he don't have anything right here. Nada. Nothing up here. Nothing. But where to puck some golf balls. And I would also say, if you're military, get out. Because a lot of these people that's going to be institutionalized are veterans. They're not just addicts. They're veterans that are not getting the care that they need. Through this whole thing, that's what's pissing me off so much more. That and single moms out here with their children trying to do the best they can, having to go to shelters to get back on their feet. And now he wants them to lose their children. Lose their children. Don't worry about daddy not doing shit. Lose their children and institutionalize them. If you all think this is right, there's a fucking problem.
If I sign a lease with a start date and an end date, I agreed to be out by this date. You are not owed a notice to vacate if I am leaving when my lease ends. If I did not sign a lease renewal that says I wish to continue past that original date that I said I wish to stay here into a future date, then I am agreeing to leave whenever I originally said within that original lease that I am leaving. And don't be like, oh, but they need to know so they can start advertising it so that they can get new tenants so that the property doesn't stay empty and they don't lose any money. I don't fucking care. We have a housing crisis in this country, not because there aren't enough houses, but because there's fucking landlords who just keep raising rent despite the fact that they don't need to. They're making profit off of this thing that is a necessity. I am so fucking tired of American capitalism, private property, landlord fucking bullshit. I'm tired of it. People should have a place to live. There shouldn't be homeless people. This is ridiculous.
I'm so over driving past all of these people who are recently homeless and watching all these other people around us who don't give a shit, who do not give a fuck. I see these people in nice-ass fucking cars just pretending like that person isn't fucking standing there, and I'm like, I know you have a few dollars on you, and maybe they don't, right? Okay. Something. Can we at least, at the very minimum, give these people a smile? Give these people a wave. Give them words of encouragement. Give them a fucking blessing. Because when that person has been standing there for hours and no one's given them a handout, a bottle of water makes them feel better. A beverage, a snack, a few dollars makes them fucking feel better. And I know that because I fucking see it in their faces. What's happening right now, and I'm going to be posting so much more about this. What's happening right now with the housing crisis and the homeless crisis, the homeless crisis. People are so quick to judge, to turn a blind eye, to assume that they did not fucking work hard enough to not get in that situation. And yes, people make mistakes. People do things that lead them into situations that could have been preventable, but sometimes you don't know that it could have been preventable. So whatever. You know, people make fucking mistakes. Just like you and I. Just like fucking everyone. It's like people forget that this is a crisis for a reason. This isn't just a housing. This isn't just a occasionally people. This is a crisis in the United States. We are on par with third world countries who just completely neglect their fucking citizens. We are on par with them. And instead of going out in the streets and screaming that we are over this, instead of grabbing some of these people and saying, hey, I have a building, I have a room, whatever the fuck, what do you need? Are you on drugs, yes or no? No. Okay, are you a sex offender? No. Okay, great. If you're willing to actually work on building your life back up, here's a room that you can stay in. I don't fucking know. I'm just saying that there is so much more we could be doing as a community to help bring these people back up. I saw my first tweaker for the first time in fucking months yesterday. These people aren't tweakers. These people are average fucking, just average, like, they oftentimes have nice clothes on still because they're recently homeless. They very sweet, kind demeanors. Some of them are young people who have aged out of the foster care system. Some of them are elderly and disabled. Some of them just lost their fucking jobs. I'm over it. I got a lot of time on my hands right now, and I'm going to be putting stuff together to raise awareness about this and get funds together to go out and actually help people. Not just help the people going through, like, who are actually actively homeless, but also helping people avoid this. Helping people get fucking vehicles. Helping people get fucking food. Helping people pay their rent. I don't give a fuck what you think about it. I am over this. And if I had as much fucking money as these people do, as Elon Musk does, you know, we could be ending this. Like, and I would. Like, I would. Would you? Because a lot of people fucking would, actually. So why don't we fucking work together and figure this out? Because these people deserve it. This is ridiculous. And it's disgraceful that as a country we excuse this the way that we do. It is really sad to watch every single fucking day. Every fucking hour. I'm driving around, I'm doing Uber driving. I see it. And I'm over it. So, I'm going to be posting a lot more about this on here. It won't all be tangents, it won't all be this long. And yeah, if you want to support, if you want to give advice on how we can get some stuff going, you know, let me know.